Okay guys, I'm going to show you how to uh, create a MOSFET circuit, and this is going to be the final result. Okay, so you can see here that we've got a MOSFET. It's a ZVN3306A, and I'm going to talk about this include file and the simulation command. But notice we have two separate power supplies and a resistor, and then an N-channel MOSFET. Okay, so let's get started. So first thing we want to do is create a folder. So I'm going to come into this ELN 131 folder, and I'll create a new folder, and I'll call this N-channel MOSFET. Okay. Now the next thing you want to do is download the text file that I'm going to put on Blackboard. Okay, and this is the file. It's called ZVX3306. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to copy that text file into this folder. Okay, like so. Right. So now I've created this N-channel MOSFET folder, and I've got this this model file that we're going to use, subcircuit file, ZVX3306. Okay, so now let's go ahead and create our LTSpice circuit. So I'm going to open LTSpice, right? And we're going to do File, New. And I want to save this into that folder I just created. So we save as, and see I've got this N-channel MOSFET folder. So I'm going to double click that and just call this N-channel MOSFET. Okay, it doesn't have to match the folder name, but I'm just going to call it that. Okay, so now we need to place our components. So let's go select, let's select component, and we want an NMOS. So in the component symbol, we want to use an NMOS. NMOS, and hit OK. Now we got to do a couple of things here. First thing we want to do is go to this operative or spice directive option and left click, and we want to include, so we do dot include zvx3306.txt. That's the file that I just copied over into that folder. So it's zvx3306.txt. So I want to include that. So I'm going to include that. Now the second thing I need to do, and this is very important, so you need to hold down, put your cursor over the MOSFET and do control right click. Control right click. And that'll bring up this component attribute editor. And you want to go to where it says prefix, you want to change this to capital X. So make sure that you change prefix to capital X and hit OK. And that's basically it. So we just need to, as far as setting up the MOSFET, so we need to add a couple of power supplies. So we need to add a DC voltage here. Let's add one over here. Let's add a resistor. Let's add a resistor here. And let's put a couple of grounds. And let's connect everything. And I need another ground here on the source. Okay. Let's see. And let's change this to say 2 volts. And I'm going to change this right here. I'm just going to call that VGS. And I'm going to call this one VDS. And change this to say 12. And let's make this say 1,000. Okay. Now one more thing I need to do is let me go back and control right click on the MOSFET, and we want to change the value here. The value needs to match the name of the subcircuit. So if you were to open that text file, you would see this. Okay, and so we want to use the ZVN3306A subcircuit. So we're going to change this to ZVN3306A. Okay. Now for the simulation, we want to do a DC sweep. So we're going to do a DC sweep, and we want to sweep VGS. And we're going to do a linear sweep, and we're going to start at 0. We'll stop at 3, and increments of 0.05. So we're going to sweep VGS, a linear sweep, start at 0.0, stop at 3.0, and do increments of 0.05. Okay? And now we're ready to run the simulation. So you can see here that the horizontal axis is that sweep from 0 to 3 volts. Okay? And let's measure the drain current. So there it is. So you can see that the drain current starts off at 0, and we'll talk about this voltage called the threshold, that once we go beyond the threshold, then we start getting current, and then it levels off. Okay, so that's all I wanted to show you, basically how to set this up and make sure that you know how to include this text file. All right, that's all for now.